very serious. So I'm gonna give it a little bit for people to emerge. And then we'll rolling flow on the way. Do not know maybe I said it like that, but well. Hello, hello, hello. It just took me a minute to be like, where the heck is the back to this thing so I know which way to have the face? In the center. And honestly, like I said a few seconds ago, foundation is probably, if not the most vital component to your practice when it comes to doing occult, spirituality, and understanding you as an individual, as a being of awareness. It's vital. Because a good example of what happens when you don't have a foundation, oh boy. Well, I'll just start with like the things that can happen if you don't have a strong foundation, because you need to have one. Otherwise, these potential pitfalls will happen. Number one, you have no foundation, you're easy to manipulate. Exactly, Jeff. Exactly. Easy to manipulate. You're easy to get woozy wooed, led directions. If you don't know where you stand, even if it's just like your sense of moralistic standing, how you think what is acceptable, not acceptable, and what your viewpoints are, and how you believe certain things are to be done on a personal, opinionated level. If you don't have that, you again are just easy just to get grabbed and go in any direction that somebody wants to put you in. Second of all, if you don't know where you stand, you more than likely will, when you start to try and figure out what your foundation is, if you keep going from one to another to another to another to another, all over the place like Woody Woodpecker, you're going to get yourself lost and confused, and you might resort to mixing everything all together at once. But now, there's absolutely nothing wrong with having a belief system or practice that incorporates many. There's no problem with that. The issue that I'm getting at is if you don't find your foundation first and then branch out, if you don't do that, then that's an issue. You need to have your foundation first and then get fancy smanchy. Say, for example, we'll put myself as the one on the spot. When I first started this lovely occult journey back in 2010, actually, yeah, that would have been almost exactly 11 years from this date. Almost, but not quite. Not quite yet, but still. When I first started, I'm like, okay, I have no idea where I'm gonna go, what I'm gonna start with, so I'm just gonna just go and face first. What was that, Jeff? Tanger Tangernito? Is that a Seagram's? You're making me crazy. Oh, you mean the alcoholic beverage? I mean, I'm not really much of a drinker, so I don't get the reference. But still, when I first started, I mean, I somewhat started usually how anybody does. They usually first encounter Wicca along those lines. But then again, I mean, when I first started, I mean, I was pretty much quote unquote starting right-handed at the very first, thinking, well, I'm kind of intimidated by all this, and I'm kind of scared that if I actually do this, something might happen. So I want to stick to being on the side where I know I pretty much think in a way that's how do I put it? Like thinking in a way that is um, greatest good for all concerned, and putting everything in a way that's dignified. I think that's probably the best place for me to start. To be kind of honest, I didn't stay in that spot for long. Hi, Ilios. I pretty much only stay pretty much in that practice for like 2 to 3 months, and like I don't like this. I don't like having to be forced to have to throw it up there with other people while I'm trying to influence how my life wants to be. I didn't like that. So then I mean, since I kind of got rid of that, stopped practicing more right-handed stuff. I pretty much just kept digging around, and I just kept reading and reading and reading anything I could come across, anything I got my hands on, which pretty much ended up being web pages. And I mean, I was just like a giant sponge, just kept taking in whatever came to me. I didn't, let's say, I didn't at all do usually like how people are like going on YouTube and saying like, "Where's your reference for that?" I didn't even watch YouTube videos back in 2010. I just kept reading web pages. And the few books that I did read, I read at thank you. I don't know what that was all about, but anyway, I used to go to Hastings. That's what the store is called. And in the New Age, I hated how they just called it New Age. New Age spirituality, like philosophy. That's where pretty much they had all the occult books and all that, and it was not big at all. There was one book that I read that was called, what was it called? It was like a big giant book that was like, it was more than, I think it was 1,000 spells. I can't remember her name that wrote it. Yeah, I kind of cheated and I didn't buy the book. What I did was actually pretty clever. I took my phone in, and then I took pictures of every single page that I could before my phone was like out of space. Hey, there's no rule book that says I can't take pictures of each and every page and then just be like, okay, I'm good. Didn't have to buy the book. Stuff. I pretty much was like reading that over and over again, because the way that I learn best is if somebody's telling me it. That makes sense. But anyway, so for a good majority of time, I didn't really hands-on practice with, like, say, for an example, do I have anything magical close to me that, yeah. For an example, I wasn't burning stuff like this. I wasn't doing candle workings. I wasn't doing crystal grids. And I didn't even get my first tarot deck until 20, okay, that was until like 2015-ish, end of 2015, early-ish 2016. I didn't have my first tarot deck. And speaking of first tarot deck, where is that? Oh, right there. Speaking of the first tarot deck, it's right here. This is my first deck, and as you can probably tell by the weathered edges and all that. Oh look, it's the He Who Fought. Get away. You've noticed me, Guru. But nonetheless, up until about 2013-ish, like as soon as 2013 started, that was when I was starting to go towards the left-handed side for the first time. And funny enough, my first spot, the first place I went to, and I actually felt like I was going into a candy store as a kid, was Tray of Satan. Dot Angel Fire. And if you know how old Angel Fire is, yeah, that's that's many moons ago. Not as many moons ago as MySpace, and boy, that's for a different time still. And pretty much from 2013 all the way up until 2015 when Satanas himself told me this isn't your path. Your path is elsewhere. 2013 to then 2015, I was pretty much on that site day in, day out, except when I was working in retail. And I was like reading the living heck out of it over and over and over again. Every single page that was on the site, except the propaganda stuff. Nope, that doesn't have anything to do with actually understanding Satanism. I really don't care about political viewpoint. Nope. Don't want conspiracy theories. It doesn't have anything to do with it. Nope. Mm-mm. Fast forward to and and then when I first began actually getting more acquainted with Satanism in 2013, that's when I started to do the magical stuff and actually like doing hands-on spells and stuff like that. Then I interacted with my first Goetic Divine Agante and Saket. And if you know the story about how I first encountered Saket, did an evocation, and as soon as I said the last word, a loud gunshot went off, like right behind me, right across the way, because I was staying in the room across the way at the time when I was still here back then. I said the last word, and then I heard a loud, like if someone just shot a shotgun outside my window. I'm thinking, wow, Saket, it's so nice to know that you have responded. Okay. I was terrified, but I mean, I kept my composure. And and even to this point, still, I really thought that was my foundation then, but it wasn't. I come to find out, uh, I mean, so many things and so much time passes that you have to like dig in your brain to try to remember where everything is and remember time frames and all that. But as soon as Satanas dismissed me saying it wasn't my path for the next, mm, excuse me, give or take, I said up until the beginning of 2017, I hadn't I hadn't found my foundation yet, so I'm just still reading everything, and I completely forgot to even go towards Joy of Satan anymore because since I was dismissed, but on good terms, I felt I have to figure out what it is. So, in a kind of a tragic way that almost ended up in my, you know, me prematurely ending my life, come to find out that my foundation is with hell. And essentially, all that she represents as she's intended, not any of this BS like saying, well, she's cruel, she's heartless, she's hideous, and she's vile. No, that is essentially Abrahamic stuff plaguing how her original intent is. Believe it or not, hell is actually one of, if not the most attentive, loving, caring, and most, what's that word? Essentially, she's so compassionate and non-judgmental. Literally, you could be, heck, you could even be Adolf Hitler, and if he goes to her, she's not even gonna flinch. She won't even flinch because all that she sees is person. What is it you need? You have something bothering you. Face it. She doesn't have any judgment against anybody. And come to find out that, yeah, she's my foundation. Essentially, having the capacity and the potential to be able to, and I'm talking about myself as an individual, I have the potential and the capacity to be able to see the worst that anybody has and not even flinch. Just the same way as her. I've always been able to do that. If somebody has like, I feel so bad about this, but I have to confess it, then what is it? They say whatever it is, and I mean, usually most of the time, nearly a good percentage of the time, I always say it is what it is. It is what it is. And having that security that you feel you have to tell another person or just get something off your chest, and having that security that who you just told, while you're thinking they're going to be all like, you're sick, instead of them acting like that, they instead, it is what it is. Whoopsies happen. It, like, say, for an example, they made a tragic mistake that they regret so bad. It is what it is. Mistakes happen, but did you learn the lesson of it to not do it again? Because if somebody made a whoopsie and it was not a good one, but if they keep choosing it, it is what it is. But there has to be an understanding that stop. But not having your foundation and knowing this is how I am, this is my thought process, this is who on the spiritual side or divinity wise, this is whom is walking with me, regardless of wherever I go, whatever I look into. This is my foundation. It's not going anywhere. So, for an example, if I was to say, if I was going to be looking into studying Shinto, hell, it's not going anywhere. Even if I hyper focus into it, become woozy wooed about it, hell's not going anywhere. No. And essentially, what she represents and what she pushes, she's not going anywhere. Even if somebody says, well, in order for you to continue with your Shinto, you had to be initiated, and you can't bring anything, any other practices with you, or if anything like that. Hell stays, hell is staying there. She's not going anywhere because I'm not going to give up my foundation to go deeper into a practice. I'm not going to sacrifice my values and what I and my viewpoint just to expand more on a different practice. Why should I have to harm and remove myself, a big part of myself, for something else? You shouldn't have to limit yourself to grow. That doesn't make sense. That's kind of counterintuitive. I want to grow, but I can't grow because I don't have enough. I just can't grow anymore because of whatever reasoning there is. That doesn't make sense. You have to allow yourself to grow because if you don't, you stagnate. And when you stagnate, you have the potential to become stagnated to a point that you turn into a he who font and an extremist. That is how it is. And when you get to that point, you can begin becoming so stubborn and harsh that you take your foundation, and then you start brandishing it as a weapon. There's a difference between using your foundation to help guide and teach others, and then there's a way of using your foundation to cause harm, which is not really the main intent of it. Because the minute you start using divinity as a weapon intentionally, you just completely ruin the core intent of having divinity with you. You're not supposed to pick up your divine and then smack people with them. No, that's no. I even asked, why the heck are you going to be smacking people? No. And while it's fresh in my head right now, you can be very knowledgeable in many things, but the minute that you allow that to become so much of an ego boost and that same ego possesses you to a point where you have no sense of what's that word? You forget how to have humility for those that actually know more about whichever practice. You lose that humility and you kind of come off as arrogant. And I mean, there's many things I know, there's many things I don't know. But like for a great example, I do know much about goetic spirits and the left-handed divines. Yes, I'm as a he who font, if that makes sense. Like he who font. That's essentially best way I describe it is essentially it's a notice me guru, look at me. I want to guide everybody. I am a guru. No, you're not. A guru doesn't the term guru never comes from the person who's guiding others. It comes from those who are being taught. That comes from the student and not the teacher. And as well, guru also has a sense of Guru understands that in order to truly understand divinity, there has to be a fine line of having confidence in knowing what you know. But those who have more experience in said practice, they should be always the ones to answer more difficult inquiries. Like, for example, when it comes to the Goetia, although I do know most about it, I always rather somebody be going towards instead of me. Like if someone asked me, so how would I best contact, say, let's see here. I just completely forgot his name. What's his name? I'm looking right at him. Say if somebody was coming towards me to ask, or no, like if somebody wanted to actually start investing alongside, I sneeze. Excuse me. If somebody wanted to start investing with Pazuzu, I know about Pazuzu, but I would rather them approach Mary Ravenstall for that because she is going to be a far much better reference and much better source of information about Pazuzu than I am. Just because I know about him, it doesn't match in comparison to what she knows. And I'd rather the person who's asking get the most information and the most accurate. Even though I do know about Pazuzu, and not to the same level as she does. That's a big difference. And that's another big major thing that I've also noticed about some that are believing that they can pick up this subject and only study it for a short period of time and start going all over the place with it. Like, oh, I'm going to teach people how to use the Goetia word for word. Yeah, go for it. It's just that it's, at least in my opinion, if anything, the Goetia should just be, in my opinion, again, the Goetia of the 72 spirits, or I rather call them divines. Essentially, that's really just a book pretty much giving more intel about these 72 spirits. Everything else about trapping them, forcing them, no. I mean, literally, if I could go back in time and actually, tap Solomon and show him and be like, hey, could you not do that, please? Yeah, we don't need to be putting these divines and forcing them to do what we want them to do. But then again, that's just common sense to me. Because put yourself in their shoes. Just minding your business and someone leaves a candy trail. You follow the candy trail and you get underneath a box and then they trap you in it. And now they say you do what we tell you and you don't get a choice. Well, that's kind of rude. But either way, being well versed and knowing your foundation has a lot of benefits. But there's always that understanding that you will always encounter somebody who is more experienced, has a deeper understanding, and is more adept in whichever practice you're in or going to be going into and learning about. There's always going to be somebody more versed in it. It is what it is. And I'd rather there be somebody that knows more than I do. So that way, if I make a whoopsie, I can get corrected like that. Because having this idea of I want to know everything, I want to be like the master of it. Because once you become the master of it, 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 it kind of loses its drive to actually invest more into it. A good example of something that nobody can master, and this is honest, is astrology. You cannot master that. Some people may argue and be like, well, I always know my predictions well and I'm always right. So that doesn't mean you're a master because astrology is one of the few many things that has immense depth to it. And it's so reliant on who's ever reading its perspective that it's literally like a black hole. You have no idea how deep it goes, how far it goes. Just good luck. You think you're going to master that black hole and everything that's in it? Have at it. Hmm. And even then, too, you can't. There was really technically no way to know everything, literally, because in order for you to know everything, you have to know essentially. Let's see here. You have to know each individual, each individual's thoughts, their height, their weight, and I'm being dead serious. In order to have knowledge of everything, you literally have to know everything, and that's not humanly possible. To know everything about a subject is different, but there are some subjects. Well, both. Well, actually, Blue, both. It just really depends on what your primary focus is for the astrology. Vedic is more in line with like the karmic everyday situations that you're gonna be facing and how and what spots in your like the specific parts in your life. For example, the D9 for marriage, D30 for illnesses, oppositions, sickness, accidents, disputes, challenges, and any kind of tragic event of surgeries. And also, funny enough, the D30 chart is how you can actually see a character of a woman. But for a man, you can actually see with his D30 how he treats women. And if that chart's weak, just hope that chart's not weak. Because here, I'll even put myself in the spot for that as an example. Is that correct? Nope. Nope. I thought that was it. That was the wrong one. So, let me just slide this over. Oh, wait, what am I doing? I could just do this. I forget I need to keep it simple. Keep it simple, you dimwit. No. So, so for my D30 chart, honestly, to me it's funny because I'm looking right at it. I'm thinking, yep, that is totally me, right? That is totally how my D30 is supposed to be. Okay, here we go. So essentially, my D30 is like this. Yeah, I know I'm moving it back and forth, but that's the only way I can stop it. That way I can only that way I can see what I need to see. There we go. So essentially, my D30 chart looks like this. And again, the D30 chart is the chart you look at for illnesses, sicknesses, pretty much any kind of health conditions, including mental health challenges, physical illnesses, obstacles, challenges, and suffering. And it's also the chart you look at to see how, for a male, how he treats women, and as well the character of a woman. Well, even though I'm one of those ones that's throwing rainbows and is lit on fire, flaming, the D30 chart still has that effect of how I treat and interact towards women. So here is how it goes. I have a come on. One of my computers deciding to think, can I be stupid? No, don't be, bloody computer. Okay, so here's what we got. I have a Pisces ascendant or rising in the D30, and in that rising sign of the D30, I have Sun, Moon, and Saturn. So for one, having Sun in the ascendant of any chart placement is what I like to term the enlightened position. In other words, since the since the first house of the ascendant is the head in medical astrology, whenever you have Sun put there, you have the Sun on somebody's head. And in some depictions of Christ and saint figures, noble figures, and even some depictions of divinity, there's a sun right behind their head. That's the enlightened position. Hmm. Well, and also since the sun is on the lugna, that shows complete awareness and being able to see completely everything within that specific house and what it represents. But now we get to the part that's like, okay, Saturn is the lowest degree at 4 degrees, and Sun is at 5 degrees. And as you know, if you have watched my other videos about Saturn, Saturn despises the Sun immensely. The best way to look at it is like you have the king, and then his father, who was the once was king. So you have his father turning around, and the son can't help it. But specifically, since now Sun and Saturn are in the same house, usually that's an indication of like that's a bit of an issue. However, no. Saturn holding the lowest degree shows that there's a strong indication of having a sense of self-control, discipline, traditional values, and also having the capacity to exhibit respect much more. But since also in this Lugna, there's Moon, and Moon, as we all know, is the most sensitive planet. You just simply touch her, she flips out. She's that sensitive. But specifically with my Moon, in every single divisional chart from D1 to D60, every single one has Moon in the ascendant, which on its own, in that placement of being in the Lugna of every chart, on its own makes a hold on makes a Raj Yoga, which is a good luck yoga, because having Moon be Bhavotama, which is being in the same house in another chart. Yeah, but that's essentially Moon is in the same house for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 20. She's in the same house for all 20 charts. In other words, whenever there's a moon period for me, like if I'm going, like right now I'm in Rahu Dasha. So whenever I believe Jupiter Dasha is next for me, yeah, it's Jupiter. As soon as Jupiter starts, whenever Moon Dasha comes in for as a sub period, Moon becomes active in all 20 charts, just which is a good thing. So, it being a Pisces ascendant now, at least at the very core of it all, when it comes to illnesses, oppositions, usually most of the time I rely on spirituality to help get through them. But when it comes to treatment of women, I have a very spiritual interaction with them and the way that I interact with them. I, as funny as this sounds, sometimes I'm like, I'm kind of lost here. And the good majority of the time I'm lost is like, I don't know how, you know, the nasty works because I don't think like that. I don't think that way because well, I'm one of them flaming kind. So why would I even think about that? So technically, I'm lost. I have no idea where I'm going, and I kind of want to escape that side because Pisces is escapism. But now, does that mean that, let's say, I usually like to escape my illnesses and by being intoxicated and intoxicating myself to avoid illnesses? No. It just shows I rely more on the spiritual side and spirituality to help me get through any challenges and obstacles. But when it comes to actually interacting with, say, pretty much how I view with looking at the seventh house instead of the Lugna now, there is Jupiter in Virgo in the seventh, and that aspecting the sign of Pisces, which is a sign he owns, and looking at those three, Sun, Moon, and Saturn, essentially I view women as a guru figure when I interact with them. And since it's Virgo, I essentially see women as a guiding figure that is needing to remain pure and respected, because that's Virgo. Virgo represents purity, combating that which is tainted, purging stuff that is vile. It's maintaining a sense of sacredity and advocating and standing up for those who are not well. That's Virgo. Putting Jupiter there, which he is Vargotama, which is being in the same sign as another division chart. D1 to D30, Jupiter is in the same sign. And technically, so is Mars, and also Mars. But still, and also when it comes to actually like protecting women, because I mean, I'm just looking at the chart still. Mars, his fourth aspect is right in the seventh house. And his fourth aspect is essentially he becomes like a willing to become like a meat shield and protect and safeguard for this fourth aspect. Well, Jupiter's there, and Mars is looking to protect Guru. So my Mars, and this is accurate, whenever there's a woman in distress, at least for me, that is probably one of the most simplest way to make the table flip, especially when it comes to say, well, my faith says I can treat her like this. Well, my viewpoint says you're a twat head and you need to get hit upside the head a few times for not knowing how to properly treat someone. And with that kind of a way of you're treating her, wow, I don't know about you, but that's a good way to, become like the 90-year-old virgin that never got anything. Because every woman he came across, he doesn't even know how to respect her or treat her like a human being. That's not my business. What do I know? What do I know? And anyway, because really that's agitated. Well, it's all their fault for mankind being burned. Are you sure now? Are you sure? I beg to differ because I heard from a bird that if it wasn't for them, you would not be here right now. Awkward silence. Figured. But anyway. So, kind of to end this whole, I completely forgot. Oh, I was talking about foundation and all that, but still, to kind of keep it simple and point blank to the point. You can go into whichever practice you want to, except, if it requires an initiation like Santeria, those are different. Those are practices still put in use and still practice and it's handed down. And in order to preserve it, it has to have initiation with it. It's not saying that you can't come in because you just can't come in because they don't like you. No, because it has to be preserved and it's being preserved the best way that it can. That's different. That's completely different. And not everybody who goes towards it can get initiated. I'm not initiated, and in order to be initiated, you have to take an oath that you can't practice anything else. That's just, it is what it is. And I'm not going to limit myself, but that's just me. So keep your horizons open, take in as much as you can, but just know that you should have the intention of actually wanting to grow what you know first and get a better understanding as your primary focus. And if you decide if you want to be teaching others and guiding people with this field, that's just extra icing on the cake. Don't be all like, I am a guru. No, don't be spewing that. Because the minute you say that, mm-mm, mm-mm. Said it once and I'll say it again. Guru does not come from you. Guru comes from those you teach. Simple. The minute that someone says they are one, they're full of BS. Mm-mm. Besides, Guru doesn't even like being noticed. Guru likes to have people come to him instead of him going to other people, like in the 10th house. Because Guru is lost. Why am I in front of everybody? I don't like here. That's true though. Guru rather be in a sacred space by himself, and then people come to him seeking to grow, rather than he be exposed to the masses and he's so easily acceptable. That's his preference. No, I just clicked the wrong button. So anyway, I'm gonna be opening it right now to open floor of any questions of any kind and all that woozy wooness. And I do need practice with this. Hey, Sid Rip. I do need practice with this deck to get more acquainted with it, so I do not mind doing some like cardstock throwing with it. I don't mind it. Just make it practical and realistic with the question, and don't make it be all like, well, yeah, you get the idea. I really don't know why people like riding their dirt bikes and those obnoxious dune buggy things. I don't understand why they enjoy making it just go as loud as possible. I don't get it. It's like, okay, that's not attractive. That sounds like, you have something in between your legs making that noise still. That's an issue. Don't get me wrong. I understand an enjoyment, but when that noise comes and happens almost daily, it gets to a point where it's like, I kind of think it would be a real shame if with those tires, you have all the air just ran away because they're tired of me, hearing it too. That's not my business. Oh my, what did I just read? I just read a new comment on one of my video, one of my videos. I'm just like, really? Wow. Oh, paragraph. Well, if Lilith is in the eighth house in Pisces, alongside Mars, Mars at 0 degrees Pisces, well, that shows Mars is actually in a state where he is being zapped and about to get ready to go into the next sign. Nonetheless, though, Mars in the eighth house, he actually owns that house because his original house is Scorpio. But now that Lilith's in the eighth house, she also rules that house. So now we have to figure out, okay, which one is the more powerful? In Pisces, that's a friendly sign for Mars because that's a sign related with Jupiter. Black Moon Lilith, I need to know where Moon's at in order to figure out how strong she is. But nonetheless, essentially, when it comes to sudden events and changes in surgeries and occult knowledge and secrecy, whenever there's some kind of secret dealings going on, there's a lot of energy being put into it. And there's also a strong need to protect gains that come to this individual. But also, there's a lot of mistrust towards, say, younger siblings and neighbors. Moon in the sixth, what sign? Is it Capricorn? Is Moon in the sign of Capricorn? Thought so, okay. So, so Lilith is also intaking that too. So Moon being in Capricorn, and Lilith is now in the eighth with Mars in Pisces. There is this strong feeling of actually seducing others in a way that's causing them to be intoxicated and intimidated, because Capricorn's intimidation. But I digress. Lilith pretty much gets a hold of Mars and tells him he's going to do it this way. And Mars, being hot headed, can't resist. And Lilith uses him to essentially get her empowerment, which is in Pisces, in the 8th house. So this individual feels the most empowered by exerting their energy and discovering the stuff that's a secret. Or they get empowered by investing their energy in the occult. But whenever there's a sudden event, like say if somebody was in a car accident, this individual can get inner strength to actually pretty much assist wherever it's needed. Essentially, this person can be a big adrenaline junkie and they feel really empowered by it. And also, this person, they have to be careful not to be intoxicated and gamble, because as soon as they get intoxicated, they can lose a lot of money, but they can also gain just like that. They need to have that sense of self-control with it. And there can be also a tendency needed to say, pretty much eavesdrop and pretty much be very obsessive about keeping tabs on on a younger sibling or even the neighbors, because that's the original third house. There could be sudden injuries to the hands, and since Pisces is the feet, this person actually may wear shoes that are black, but also maybe even red. And there's a lot of energy in the feet. But also sometimes shoes that they wear may damage like too much. Like pairs of shoes they have wither away and they pretty much break away and they decay faster. Like they tarnish faster than anybody else's shoes and feet. I don't know why they popped in my head, but that's just what it did. Well, for me, when it comes to traveling, I'm very selective, and I don't like going places I have never gone to by myself. Because the last thing I want to have happen is like, okay, I'm by myself, and then I get ganked. You should have seen me the first time I went to Chicago. That was fun. Okay, so I don't get on the red line ever because that's where somebody got jumped. How many times? How many times did it happen this month, Jimbo? About 20. I'm avoiding that. Yeah, no. Literally. All by myself in Chicago, trying and going to visit someone. I'm thinking, I'm gonna get stabbed. And literally, I'm like, people stay away from me. If any of you get close to me, you probably might get my foot in between your legs, and you might feel two things pop. Don't come anywhere close to me. But nonetheless, the way that I think, it's like I trust nobody around me since I'm all by myself. Nobody can ever come anywhere near me because I will table flip on them. In that situation, what else can I do? I'm not going to be all prancy smanchy. hmm There's a lot. But nonetheless, I'm like that anywhere. You can even put me like saying like, okay, all right, Brendan, we're going to be sending you to, let's see here. Like, say if you're going to put me in a place even where it's like a spiritual place that I've never been to. I'm going to be like, okay, yeah, that sounds great. On the way there, I'm like, I trust nobody. I get there. I do not trust any of these people. Ah, you made it to the temple resort. Who are you? I don't trust you. I'm master. No, you're not. That that's how my brain thinks. I don't trust nobody, and I'm always. Well, actually, that's where originally I was born, in Canoga Park. So, and I was from the past. No, I was from around the Burbank area. Actually, funny to say New York City because that's where my best friend went to college as a science, and he was getting, I can't remember what specific type of science he went into, but I mean, in comparison between me and him, when it comes to science, like chemistry and all, I mean, there's so many types of science that it's just mind-boggling. Yeah, 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 cost of living's too much, way too much. But however, though, there's one thing I will say though. Living in, say, Needles, California, the cost of living's low. Well, so just make sure you really do, because I mean, I'm thinking about moving too, because I'm not feeling this place anymore where I'm at. Mm-hmm. And again, the cost of living anywhere nowadays is too much because some people that are in, the political position, they don't really understand how the economy works and how to actually do what's right for their people. And there's actually a reason why the fifth house, original sign of Leo, represents politics. Because sometimes politics is like a stage front. It's like a Broadway play. It's like people acting. Like, okay, because nothing is more entertaining than watching people insult one another instead of like trying to better something. No. Hey, loyalty. But for me, I'm one of those when it comes to my 2 cents worth. I mean, if somebody's stupid, I'll tell them, hey, you stupid, stop it. That was mean. I don't care. You're being stupid. Please stop doing that. Because you're kind of making me regret being a human like you. Uh, well, Blue, that's putting it to that's kind of like making it to like the extreme. Except we don't want to have expired meat like that, like on display like that. No, 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 no. No expired meat, please. That's why, once it, no, 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 sorry. We gotta throw it out. No, it's rotted. Sorry. Okay, here. Fine, I'll just throw this deck on myself then. That's too funny, and, well, no. I'm not even gonna go anymore with it. Just as a big no-no, and it should never ever be seen as potential again. Especially if there's somebody involved having, see, 90 chins, and always walking around like with wearing a turtleneck. His name rhymes with snitch. Sorry, couldn't resist. I mean, hey, people make fun of me because I have vitiligo, like right here. Like, like if you notice with my eyes, there's this, and then there's this. This one's much lighter and wider than this one. Yeah, that's vitiligo. People have made fun of me for that, saying like, "Wow, why are you wearing eyeshadow with one eye? It looks weird." I just tell them you're just mad because you're not a panda like me. Stick it. I mean, I'd be mad too if I wasn't one, so sucks to be you. Rip. Don't be hating that I'm a panda and I got blustered that and you're jealous. Mm-mm. Here's part of it. I look tilted. Hmm. Not as much as Lady Gaga though. Not as much as that. Definitely not as much as hers. I mean, literally, she can. Literally, you can put her in anything and she'll make it work. And even some people even say that vitiligo is also known as kind of like a birthmark in some way. Well, fun fact, believe it or not. Actually, no, I'll say that for another time because that one is a bit intense. But either way, so I'm gonna read myself with the Goetic Tarot in Darkness and just see how it comes out because I have yet to really read with this and just gonna see how it comes out. So let's see. I'm gonna just laugh so hard at like the first card, then telling him like, okay, okay, nice to see that you're stalking me still. Love you to death. Don't don't make me have a asthma attack by laughing to death on camera. That's not the time to do it. All right. Huh. Just just split the deck, and the first card I see is actually the first Goetic divine that I actually interacted with, Agante. Yep, he was the first one. Imagine that. And look. Oh wait. Wait a minute. I don't know if like his planetary position was Mercury and Scorpio. Go, go figure. So we shall see, because this deck, now that I'm thinking about it, it's best to say, this is not a beginner-friendly deck. It is not nice to fresh meat. It's not nice. It tenderizes hard to fresh meat, metaphorically speaking. Not because it really has, like, here for example, it has just the Goetic spirits on it. Not because of that, it's just, it forces you to use your intuition and it forces you to connect with your subconscious to it. It forces you to do it. It says, you don't want to go into the dark? Let's go. And yeah, that's where the most of the intuitive messages come through anyway. So why be afraid in the first place? But that's just me though. So I mean, you can read in a way with it, like a regular tarot deck, but not like the same way as Rider Waite Smith. Hmm. And because of her being able to like change so much, she's actually also advocating the necessity to allow yourself to create many things in many different ways and express yourself in many different ways and don't stop. Stop yelling. Really? Another reason why I just want to fly out of here. So anyway, let's get this show on the road. Nope. Look at that. Agante again. And you saw I kept shuffling this thing. And I just cut the deck in two. And look, there he is again. Agante, what are you trying to say? And got a Hagante and Vine. We have a Sun in Scorpio, well, Mercury in Scorpio. So do we have anybody that has Scorpio? Is there a Scorpio heavy person in here? By that I mean, don't be thinking like, oh, somebody who likes to stick it. No, none of that. Like if you remove a card from the deck, yeah, because you're taking 78, now you're making 77. But if you add a card to it, 79, not really, no, it just adds another one card to the combinations. Usually, if you try reading to like a tarot deck without one card not being included, you limit. Capricorn Sun, okay, but your other planets too. So, okay. Current standing, current position. I just adore you, Dentalian. Current standing, look who that is. Hi, Dentalian. It's nice to know that you're out in the forefront. Dentalian has the current position, current standing, core of it all. Venus in Pisces, High Priestess. Okay, and that actually does make sense. Don't get me started, because what he likes to do is just come out of nowhere and be like, fine. Hey, you who like sausage in ass. Dentalian. No. What? It honest though. I just adore you. Stop lying. Mm. Connect to them, they said. It would be fun, they said. It is. Really, dude? Okay. He drives me, he drives me bonkers, and he does he act like an animaniac to you too? Because with me, that's like how he usually acts. But at first, he was more professional, the best way to put it. More, more calm. Now he's just all over the place and likes calling me funny, humorous names that are shocking. Anyway, so current standing High Priestess with a Venus in Pisces, and having that be the core of it all. Yes, a situation that I'm inquiring about does involve something that an Italian could lend his expertise in, and also it does involve the emotions. Yes. So okay, so far so good. What am I going to be encountering next, or what is going to be crossing me alongside the Italian? What are we going to be encountering? Watch it. Oh boy. I'm because the original Kickstarter edition, like the original print, actually had an alternate art for the magician, and it was King Solomon having a look on his face like, I just made a big mistake. Mm-hmm. You just made a big mistake, you dimwit. Anyway, encountering. Going to be encountering for us as the Page of Swords. So it looks like, according to how Foros is depicted here, looks like I'm going to be encountering pack making with Dentalian. Not complaining. Not really that new here when it comes to making those anyway. Because that's another thing too that I've also noticed people kind of making a little bit unnecessarily difficult. How do I make a pact? You just, like, put it this way. Imagine writing out the terms and conditions. Like, this is how I would like things to happen, but then also include the other party involved in making the agreement too. In other words, getting the state connect to that specific divine and work together to make the terms and conditions together, not just whatever you want to say you do. Mm, don't do it that way. That's a big lot of loopsy. So, what is the cause or foundation or holding all of this together on the ground below it? It is I believe it's Duke Barbados. A lot of horn blowing. Venus and Taurus. So kind of the foundation for all this is kind of, well, the way I'm looking at it is like kind of letting everybody know that, hey, check this out, look this way, because Barbados, when he's known to appear, there's a lot of blowing of horns going on. And that's funny because kind of in a way that's like what's going on right now, even though I'm not really blowing anything. Oh, there go. Just when the time comes through, it's just like I can't help but just not say a word because if if I actually do say anything, it's gonna make me laugh, and then he's gonna keep going. So having the need to announce something that's a treasure because this depiction has Barbados putting his foot on a treasure chest, and it looks like there's a pooch trying to get in it, looking up at him. Nice try, you little scoundrel, Poochie. Behind, backing up, or what have you, is Jupiter in Capricorn, which is Guru pissed off. But anyway, that's not the main focus. Behind me or backing me up is Prince Orbas. Mm-hmm. Now that's a beautiful depiction in my opinion. And yes, this is the divine that says the whole truth point blank and is always in the best interest of the practitioner. And her card, at least for the tarot aspect, is the World. High Priestess encountering the Page of Swords. Foundation is the Nine of Swords. But with Barbados, that's showing the need to announce something that requires mental and it can't be distressful. Well, according to some, that was not very nice to knock it out of my hand. But according to some people, they would think that the Goetia causes distress. Well, they're just wimps, and they're letting some he who font tell them that, oh, it's bad. But Orbas as who is backing me up, or what's behind me, and his card being the World. So Urbas is backing me up, so Truth point blank is backing me up in how it is. And something that had to end ended and now something new is beginning, which is now the current state with everybody's favorite, at least mine, the Italian with pact making. Okay. Not complaining. Not gonna say no. What's on top of my head then? Or most desired outcome that can come about. It is, and actually, funny enough, not a poetic divine at all. It is an ace of twigs, including the signs of Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. So on top of my head is to speak soft and carry a big stick, or to get a zest of something, to be more zestful. And for some reason, I just noticed that the sign of Pisces is in this depiction too. And so, ironically too, is a scorpion. The sign of Taurus is in here too. So is King Bale's sigil is in this depiction too. You know what's really creepy? When a tarot card has your initials in it. I am dead serious. My initials are BR, Look right where my finger's at. Do you happen to see a B and an R? I can see the R. Look at the floor, like where the candle flame's at. Yeah, like a B and R. Well played. Well played, Italian. Well played. We're on script. What else is new? It just happens. Or as you said, I read on script. That's kind of like his code for like, don't look at me. It's just how the script's written. Whatever. So then, who or what's coming right for the face? Oh, Page of Wands, Venus and Aries, Duke Argris. I absolutely love and adore Duke Argris a lot. I mean, why am I going to turn him away? I just love Argris. Um, Best case scenario, on top of my head, Ace of Twigs, Venus and Aries. And Aries is on the previous card. And I also just noticed we have a Mercury card, one, two, three Venus cards, one Jupiter card. Wow. Hmm. And his card in the sixth Page of Wands. So coming towards me is either one, a runaway coming back, go figure, number two, better understanding of communications, or moving the earth, causing it to split with an earthquake, or rearranging the physical plane around me. Because Argus causes earthquakes, that's causing the physical plane to be rearranged. That counts, good enough. That's gonna happen. Okay, well, I'll just find something to hold on to, and you know, cause the world a hula. I know I got nothing. And now the twig staff part of this cross. Self self perception. Really? Because here's the thing. In this deck, Prince Cetri is my card when it comes. Prince Cetri is my card in this deck. Jupiter in Taurus, Queen of Cups. And look at in this depiction, you notice there are people being nourished by Prince Cetri. Even though they're kind of exposed, the idea with this depiction is showing that one has to be willing to expose themselves as they are. Truthfully, that is how they'll be able to connect to this unconditional capacity to love somebody and be truly nourished completely, being able to expose themselves as they are, truthfully. And as well with this depiction, there's four arms. So there may actually be a reference to like altogether there's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. You know, sometimes I just how do I put this? Sometimes how, the world and just how existence behaves. Sometimes I just want to tell it, can you stop, making things freak me out like that? Because it's like 12, okay, 12 arms all together in this one card, 12. But my my TT goddess from Vedic astrology, because everybody has one, like a specific moon goddess. The one that's mine, Dashami Nitya, she has 12 arms altogether. 12 arms in its picture. I have nothing to say. Nod my head and go with it. Just gonna go with it. But that's my self-perception. So it looks like, well, hey, I'm seeing myself acting in my best state. Woo! Outside perception. Oh boy. This is probably where it's gonna get. Outside perception will be seeing me as, oh boy, a boof. Apparently, I'm being seen as the King of Swords, Sun in Virgo. Oh, and the Goetic Divine? Apparently, mm-hmm, too good to be true, but look. So, supposedly, I'm King Asmodeus. I don't breathe, fine, I admit it. Just because I flame doesn't mean I breathe fire. I'm jolly, okay? And there's also a Taurus, like a bullhead on there too. Because why not? Why not? Why not make me more freaky deaky out? So apparently I'm being seen as somebody who is just, but also has a strong sense of desire. But it's also fair and realistic about it. He also gets a sense of fulfillment by bettering something. Obvious. What's the process of making these cards and decks? Simple. You pretty much just make the cards, the 70 cards, the artwork, and you just go onto like um, playingcardmakers.com, I think, does deck printing on their site. And you just upload your artwork, and then you can just make your own deck like that. If it's making it mass produced, you might have to go about it in a different way, like have it be done by a publisher, in my opinion. But if you're going to be making a deck with copyrighted images, you got to be careful because you don't want to get sued. I'm hoping for, but also definitely afraid of. Hey, hey, Ale? I think that's it, Ale? I'm gonna go with it. I'm hoping for, but also definitely terrified of, or definitely afraid of, as I usually said. Hoping for, but definitely afraid of death. How funny. No. In this depiction, we have Duke Gimmery, which is all about essentially finding new love and appreciation in something new, in a new endeavor. I'm hoping for death, hoping for someone to kick the bucket. What party? Well, what kind of party? Venus in Capricorn, twice. No, wait, two Capricorns, two Tauruses, a Pisces, two Virgos. Right, yeah, two Virgos, two Aries. Oh, I mean, if you want to, I don't suggest this, but you can do this. Just open up the window and say, hey, you guys are becoming like vibrators. Stop it. I can't sleep. Stop vibrating everything. Sure. You know, you're not really being a good vibrator. You're doing it wrong. Do it. Say it. No balls. No. But for real, technically, it's not lying. They are. vibrating. I have nothing to say. Nothing to say. Go with it. Most likely outcome to come about. Okay, that's bold. So, I would like you guys to meet one of my absolute favorite poetic divines. And I'm not just saying that because he can strike terror into you, a type of terror that he may, have you kick a bucket, but it is none other than Marquis Andres. Does anybody happen to know him? Anybody? Does anybody know Marquis Andres? Anyone? Essentially, by like Moon in Aquarius. No, that's my moon. Go figure. Marquis Andres is known to be probably, if not one of the most dangerous of all the goetic spirits. But then again, you gotta keep in mind we're going from King Solomon's perspective, and you kind of seen how he treated them. So we can take it with a grain of salt. But anyway, so Marquis Andres, literally, if a magician and his assistants were not careful, Andres would kill them. One little misstep, they Andres would kill them. That shows the nature of Aquarius. Unpredictable. You got to be very careful. You got to watch yourself because one wrong step, there's the wrath, and he's the Knight of Swords. So that's air and air in the same element. That is the outcome, though. So the outcome is probably more than likely with this situation I'm inquiring about. It's going to involve me kind of being in a state that's like, don't you make a wrong move because if you do, you're going to wish you'd ever made that wrong move in the first place. Not so intimidate in the end result. So then from there, clarify the Knight of Swords or Marquis Zongris spot, if you would. We have Knight Furcos, Shani or Saturn in Sagittarius. Okay. And along with that, along with that, we have Duke Astaroth, Venus in Leo. A lot of Venus cards. Good lord. I don't like how there's only one Saturn related card, and that's the one I pulled. Because it's just like, okay, kind of wish that, they added more. I wish there was more knights that was, referred with, but it is what it is. And then the last, let's go. Thank you. Stop doing that. Stop sticking. And the last clarifier. Okay, we have another moon in Aquarius, the Chariot. And this one is, I can't remember, I don't know its title off the top of my head. It is Cimaries, the Chariot, moon in Aquarius. And no, well, look at that, another moon in Aquarius card. And then we have, bottom of the deck, the Sun Vine. Sun in Scorpio. So, fulfillment will come. I just got to be really intimidating, but also remembering to keep my wisdom and being able to not be victimized about it, but as well to really self-reflect and then go Hong Kong fully with, striking with immense terror or what have you. And two cards fell out of the deck. King Bale, King of Wands. What's the other one? And Halphus, Mars and Libra. Give me two more just so that way. Actually, give me three for the other person in question about them. One. Okay. Venus and Aquarius, we have that one for that one's a Justice card. Okay. Okay. Definitely, totally not hinting towards me, but go figure. Another one. Moon in Leo. That is Foreignus? Four of Pentacles. Holding on to dear life for fairness. Hi, Zoe. I mean, Z. ZZ. I thought it was Zoe. Whoops. I can't see straight, so, have mercy on me. And again, I've never been able to see straight, so what else is new? Okay, so we have Leo Moon, that holding on to dear life for it. And then last clarifier is Seven of Wands, Iligos, Venus in Gemini. There's a lot of Venus in here. Venus, not the other word that you thought I said. No, that's not the time for that. And bottom of the deck we have upside down. Oh, look at that. It's Lucifer. Venus in Capricorn, which actually should be, yeah, that's Lucifer. And of course, stereotypically, he has to be the devil card. God forbid. But still, bottom card being Lucifer. Now, these three. It does show a holding on to and willing to defend a sense of justice and really trying to enjoy life to its fullest and trying to be fair at the same time. I just had a bad idea, but tell me one more thing I should know about this endeavor. Oh, hello, lovely Lilith. So, and she happens to be the Lover's card. So I need to realize and something else I need to remember and know. In order, to experience divinity, you need to stick up for you too, hon, because if you notice, there's two below me, not just one, and they're both reaching towards me equally. So you both need to be on the same page and both go towards the same goal. Otherwise, you wish you can get close to me. Black Moon Lilith in Gemini. But oh, whatever. Mouse is Cupcake. Why are you doing something I didn't tell you to do? Okay, I think I may have to end this. may have to end the stream here because I may. This is a Logitech, I believe. I hope I just sent that message to the right person. Okay, good, because if I didn't, that would have been a big mistake. At least it wasn't at least it wasn't a big unplanned mistake. It's funny, okay? Huh. Yep, I have to end the stream here because I have to be live somewhere else and record with people. So I'll just see y'all on the next one then.